for Mama Akwaba at Ghanatube, so number one channel and news I of course so any day about a woman when you're calling Koshamuna, yes, so it's on panel. The Abramon, so much in some a cost so a woman, and woman was only one such as a better address and another way you do. Say, I bet nothing near cut the ends, ye penny, I so Mama call, how would see us in similar entry a year pan, and I say a bar, a bit so swell, I say, become one, nay, they come at the Yama, Yasha for, and Tian Quim, you could see some I of course so any day about all my Edika.
Former Finance Minister Kenneth Ofori may be facing more than just interest from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, as two other state institutions are reportedly seeking him in connection with separate investigations, active ones from what we do know right now and how things are playing out. It is emerging that the former Finance Minister Kenneth Ofori is being investigated by other security agencies in the country, apart from the Office of Special Prosecutor. Now, this hint was first given by the Director of Strategy, Research, Communication Division, the Office of Special Prosecutor, Samedako, on the Key Point on TV3. He indicated that apart from the Special Prosecutor, who has declared Kenneth Ofori wanted, and then also now having Interpol list him on the red list on their website, other security agencies in the country have launched separate active investigations into Kenneth Ofori's dealings during his tenure as Finance Minister. I want us to recall exactly what Samedako said on Key Point on Saturday. Take a look.
You do not know why we need Mr. Ofori. It's not just for purposes of charging. This debate is not about whether we can try an abstention or this debate is about a suspect who has refused to appear before the OSP, and the OSP is enforcing it.
So we are pointing you to another way, another procedure.
So he says they know their job.
If the other way is
they are proceeding as expected.
Every Ghanaian in Ghana will decide that when the law enforcement agency invites them, they will not come, go straight and file it. That's what I told you. There's a reason for why you need to do investigation. There's a reason. And we're saying that we want to do that process. I understand that, yes, you want to know the nitty-gritty, but you are the same people who are accusing us that we are either disclosing too much or we are not giving too much information. I'm saying that, can we exercise some patience and trust the process that it will be done? In the first place, the OSP is the one that came out to say that we are investigating on 5 cases. And we are doing exactly that. It's not also true that other law enforcement agencies are not investigating him. Why do you think that other agencies have not done all that you are saying? Because we are not the only ones investigating Mr. Kenneth Ofori. The other agencies are also investigating him. It's just because that the OSP had to come out because he had agreed with us on certain terms and he has failed to honor the terms, and we are only enforcing his attendance. We shouldn't reduce this meeting into whether we can try an abstention or not. I have told you that, other than that, everybody should be able to do that. There's several people, they should just tell the police that, please just file it in court and let it be served on me. I don't need to come to your office and order. And nobody is having any fun in arresting anybody. If anything at all, I just told you that there are about 30 people that very soon will be placed before when they are under arrest. And yet none of you have heard about it. And they've been granted.
That's Samedako there earlier on Key Point. It indicated that other agencies are investigating Kenneth Ofori, not just the OSP. Now, today, here's what we got to know. A bit more detail on this. The Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Adam Shemsai, speaking to Joy News, indicated this, quote, "It is not only the OSP that is investigating the former Finance Minister. EOCO and NIB, that's the Economic and Organized Crime Office, and the National Intelligence Bureau are also investigating him." So it is not only the OSP that is looking for the...
And for any for and some I also any the eba a woman and I was so a good so our witty and Mr. Pan say witty no so I went to our faster and 7 now with a fair Eddie and Mammy our comment session hall young queen names was
cooperation of the former Finance Minister. So that then gives a bit more detail to what Samedako indicated over the weekend, indicating that other agencies are investigating Kenneth Ofori as well. If you recall, when the special prosecutor declared Kenneth Ofori wanted, again, or relisted him as a wanted man on its website. They put the possible location, and this is the website of the Office of Special Prosecutor. If you go there, Ofori Atta is one of 5 people who have been declared wanted on the Special Prosecutor's website. You have one, Derek Asmeni. His possible location, we understand, Northern region, other areas, and his crime is that it's been investigated in the corruption-related offenses, including but not limited to corruption, bribery, abuse of public officer, and so on. And then there's one, Anthony Jesse, and then Sadia Al-Hassan. These people, well, they are of interest to the Special Prosecutor. But this man, talking about Kenneth Danaya Ofori Atta, his is of a serious interest for good reason, because he's former finance minister. And also the 5 issues that has been investigated on are active matters that are of public interest. So the interest in his case is higher, and rightly so. If you look at the possible locations that the Special Prosecutor says Kenneth Ofori Atta could be, United States. And we asked the question that time that, yes, for the United States it's a given, because the Mayo Clinic where he is receiving or is reported to be receiving medical treatment is in the United States. So why did the OSP then add the UK, South Africa, Guyana, Hong Kong, Cayman Islands to the possible locations of Kenneth Danaya Ofori Atta? And Cayman Islands, we know, these tax havens and so on. So it points to something. But let's bring in Richard Komado. He understands the workings of the security architecture, specifically with the National Intelligence Bureau. He's joining us, a former operative of the BNI. Then, Mr. Komado, appreciate your time. I recall that when this matter came up and the possible locations of Kenneth Ofori Atta was published by the Special Prosecutor, I asked a question about why expand the scope of his possible locations. Does what the Deputy Attorney General put out today, does it give you some further clarity on why these other countries have been listed as his possible location?
Definitely, yes. And if you remember, during that interview, I stressed the point that there are 2 ways of looking at it. Individuals can commit one particular crime that is involving, and because of the nature of the involving nature of the crime they have committed, almost all the law enforcement agencies or the investigative agencies could be interested in investigating that particular person. Or you might have actually committed specific crimes that borders on the work of EOCO, the NIB or the BNI, the police, Special Prosecutor's Office, and other agencies and departments you might not know of. So when Justice Sai said it this evening, I think they were on the right path. And that is why we'll be saying that let's allow the investigative agencies to do their work. And one of the other reasons why they may expand the location is that they want to make it as broad as enough so that the crime suspect or the person who have come under crime notice wouldn't have escaped through the radar. I would not also be surprised, now that the NIB or the BNI is involved, and EOCO particularly is involved, that they might have other locations that they have not yet disclosed to the general public. So that is where we are as this evening. It's a standard procedure, and it is what is done all over the world, and we have not breached the standard procedure at all.
But how do you see things playing out? I mean, based on your knowledge, of how things work, without giving too much detail, and also taking into consideration what the Deputy Attorney General has put out today.
No, when you look at the Interpol platform, predominantly is used by the police, that at all times when they are investigating crime or they are looking for a particular person who committed crime and they cannot find the person, the standard protocol on it was, one of them was the red alert, meaning that all law enforcement agencies to help in the arresting of this particular person who have been declared wanted or have jumped boat. Now, all other agencies who deals with investigations and prosecutions all over the world, you have the FBI, you have the CIA, you have the MI5, MI6, Scotland Yard, and almost all the agencies in the world, together with the private investigators, will also create a database about this particular person. And that is why we say that the risk of being ranked higher as a wanted person or the fugitive is so huge. And that is why we would have loved that our uncle Kenneth Ofori Atta comes to cooperate with a special prosecutor. But then that didn't happen. What we are seeing now, that the frontiers of the investigation has been opened because of the specific role he played as the finance minister it means that other protocols and other steps will be taken, whether to try him in absentia or to get close to him, and whether it means that some sophistications and some confiscations will have to be activated, because there might be certain aspects of the prosecution that goes with confiscating proceeds from crime. So that is where we are, and it will be interesting for students of investigation.
And for any for and some I also any the eba a woman and I was so a good so our witty and much pants a witty no so I went to our faster and some now ja a fair Eddie and mammy our comment session how young queen teen to us.
To learn some of these things as it's being played in the public space.
You mentioned the collaboration that we're seeing amongst, from what the Deputy Attorney General did say as well, which confirms what you said almost 2 weeks ago, that yes, it's expected that the EOCO, BNI, or NIB and OSP would all work together. I mean, but then again, they are all investigating separate issues, are they not? So then,
definitely, what's
the point of convergence? Yes.
Okay, so that is one thing that Justice I said it today, and I know the media is going to spin it out, not your media house, but some media is going to spin it out and make it a standard norm. No, it is not. What Justice I said today is what we call prospective opinion on cases. Because remember, it's not all the cases that the investigative bodies are investigating that came from the Attorney General's department, or that came directly from government. So this is the way it works. Two things. One person can be involved in a particular crime, that this crime involves so much that all the other agencies of investigations in Ghana may get involved. Or some other crimes would have been committed on separate grounds. That means that you have to visit or you have to answer questions by all the investigative agencies. Because Justice I said that they wouldn't put one crime suspect or somebody who has come at a crime notice to the various departments or agencies. That is a perspective, because it depends on the nature of the crime, and the manner of commission means that if you commit a particular crime in a particular way or in a manner, you are likely to be questioned or to be interviewed by all the law enforcement agencies. And that point has to be made so clearly that it does not become a standard convention in this country. Now, after how it converges that when you go to court, it's no longer the BNI that goes to court or EOCO that goes to court. It is the state that goes to court in some of these cases. And who represents the state is the Attorney General. So there's one thing we do in investigations, working together with a lawyer, that when we go to court, there are some evidence that we determine to be admissible and some not to be admissible. So they work so hard within the lines to ensure that our convergence criteria produces a docket that gives the prosecution team a leverage at court. Because remember, the defense team is going to put a fight. It's going to put up a fight. So that is where the convergence comes in. What EOCO did, what the BNI did, and what Special Prosecutor did, what the CID block would do, and what the other agencies that we might not be made note of, they all converge in building up that docket, which then becomes the evidence they are going to present in court. And that is the beauty of what they would have been doing respectively in their independent units. But at the point of prosecution, particularly when prosecution is on the line and the person is a high profile, the nature of convergence is done at the point when the Attorney General is ready to go to court. And that is the work of the Attorney General together with the investigators on the ground.
And it's important that you make this point, because then that distinction is quite clear. And I did mention as well, this possible prosecutor published the wanted notice on this website of Kenneth Ofori Atta. That's the United States of America, the United Kingdom, South Africa, Guyana, Hong Kong, and the Cayman Islands. And if you look at the modus operandi of the EOCO, Economic and Organized Crime Office, it's quite clear what their defined scope of investigation is: economic crime, Mr. Komodo. And then also, so when you look at Cayman Islands, and what comes to mind is the status of they being a tax haven, right? I mean, they don't have any corporate tax laws, and so you have a lot of multinationals and people who are going there, and because they don't want to pay taxes, you would have a lot of investments there as well. I mean, then again, you look at what possibly the other agencies will be looking at. OSP, we know what they are investigating as well. I mean, looking at all of these possibilities, What could be the point of convergence for all of these, especially because they are working together? 1 minute before we go.
What could also happen is that OSP has triggered the Interpol platform, one of the protocols on the Interpol platform. The BNI and EOCO in particular, working together with the National Crime Agency of the UK, will trigger also protocols, some other protocols not known to the general public, and that may help in their cause. And it is part of the convergence criteria. Let me also say that in one country, last year or so, somebody has been declared wanted for crime investigations or have come to national security interests in that particular country. Private investigators and state investigators were sent into some of these hideouts, and this person was brought back to this particular country to come and face charges and to answer those questions. So once the investigative bodies begin to work together, collaborating with their international bodies, and they want to bring you down, they have several ways of bringing you down, or they have several ways of unraveling what are the core issues together with the investigations they are doing. Unless something dramatic happens, they have a lot of resources and they have a lot of long hands to be able to fetch you, irrespective of wherever you are.
Mr. Kumado, appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much for joining us. He's a security analyst and also a former operative of the BNI, now National Intelligence Bureau there. Well, the OSP has declared Ken Ofori-Atta wanted, but as we're getting to know now that EOCO is also another agency of interest in the presence and cooperation of Ken Ofori-Atta to what they are investigating, which we don't know. We don't know exactly what EOCO is investigating. We don't know exactly what the National Intelligence Bureau is investigating. For the Office of Special Prosecutor, we do know. EOCO has not declared Ken Ofori-Atta wanted, at least based on the information that we have on their website. If you go to the EOCO website, they have a number of people they've declared wanted. This is the EOCO website, right? These are the wanted people. There are about almost 20 of them. There's Siddhartha, Roy, there's Wisdom, Achuk Oklu, Mariam Ibrahim, all these people, see them. It's on the EOCO website. This is public information. All these people, EOCO is looking for them. But, you know, we'll see how the coming days will look like. Now that we know that they are also interested in the presence of Ken Ofori-Atta, there's one Ismail Hamidu, also known as Alfred Dankwa, and then one Akwesi Ajiman Abebresen, all these people there. EOCO is looking for these people. But then again, we don't have Ken Ofori-Atta on there as yet. But we'll see how the coming days will look like on it here on Ghana Tonight. Getting to know that the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Remsa, is talking about EOCO also being interested in the investigation of Ken Ofori-Atta. But coming up next, well, we have more for you after.
Same EOCO so any the edika ewo manimeno and I just say was so egusu awiti me hwe pa say obeja comment fefe e da mama ewo comment section ho but you can say ha Ghanatube so me na say we ko hwe e de ebrem e ye ho chia me show and na ye frame sisi ade mako